What I've been thinking about the concept of failure, to fail, and what it means to be a failure, essentially. And I'm pretty sure this is a question that many of you guys have also asked yourselves. What does it mean to fail? I don't want to fail, so how can I avoid it? Or have I failed at life? This is the big philosophical question that many of us tend to ask ourselves once we've reached a certain age. You could be asking yourself this question when you're 25. You could be asking yourself this question when you're 45. At some point in every human being's life, we tend to ask ourselves, have we failed at life? Now, what exactly constitutes a failure? That's something I kind of want to get into myself, because I am doing a bunch of different things personally, right? I'm selling a manga on Amazon, RED RAPTURE. You can find it on Amazon. I'm starting a website specifically to teach African history. I'm doing a lot of stuff, and at each point in my journey, one of the questions that keeps popping up in my mind is, have I failed? Or am I succeeding in a way that is satisfactory to my psyche? I think this is the best way I can put it. And then there are other people who ask different types of questions when it comes to their personal life, right? Especially when you compare yourself to your peers. Some of your peers have probably gotten married by now. Some of them will probably already have 2 kids. I know this because I was very surprised when I came out of college and when I was studying my degree. I made a mistake. Yes, I made the mistake at looking at my Facebook account, and I found out many of my, secondary school classmates have already kind of gotten married, or they already have kids. And that kind of drew me by surprise. I'm like, whoa, we just came out of fucking secondary school and some of you guys already have kids? Crazy. But then obviously at that time, I wasn't really thinking too much into it. In that time, I was thinking to myself, you're too young to be having kids at this age. We're still in our early 20s. Why are you guys having kids right now? But obviously now that I'm in the uncle age, the age 30, now I'm thinking about this type of stuff. Now I'm like, man, maybe I should start getting into dating. Maybe it's time for me to find a wife, start having kids. Or is it too late? Have I failed in that degree? Or there could be instances where, you are pursuing a career, right? And your career just isn't going the way that you want. Now you're probably asking yourself, have I failed in that area? Did I pick the wrong degree? Did I pick the wrong field to study? Am I a failure in that sense? There's a lot of ways people measure failure. And it's interpersonal. It's hard to quantify for each person. Because I could look at somebody else's life and they may be saying to themselves, I am a failure because I studied this degree, but I ended up in this job. While another person can be like, well, at least you have a job. I studied this degree and now I don't have a job. Now I'm looking around. Now I'm trying to find a job. I'm sending thousands of applications, but no one seems to be hiring. I feel like a failure right now. And, other people might be saying, wow, you already have kids and a family? I don't have nobody. I have no one in my life. I feel like a failure. And so many people have their own definitions and phrases as to what constitutes failure. For me, personally, let's get into it. What I usually constitute as a failure, personally. Now, this might be subjective. Many people might have different variation of it. But my definition of a failure is if you give up. It sounds corny, I know, but genuinely, so long as you keep trying, so long as you genuinely, from the bottom of your heart, keep trying to do what it is that you want to do. Obviously, don't do the same thing over and over again. Adapt, switch, come up with some new strategies. But as long as you keep trying, you're not a failure. I'll give an example. As I mentioned earlier on, one of the things I'm doing is I'm creating a manga. And the manga is called RED RAPTURE. It's a passion project of mine. I've always wanted to tell stories. And I've always wanted to tell stories with characters that kind of look like me and have cool abilities and do cool stuff. Now, as many person knows, as anybody who starts a small business understands, there will be days where you feel like you failed. There will be days where you feel like, did I make the right decision? Now, obviously, if you're going to start a business, you need to acknowledge failure. Let's be honest. Like, you have to be able to say, okay, this strategy or this product isn't working. I gotta switch it up or I gotta move on. But there will be instances where, like, You know the product is great. You know the reviews that you've been getting has been good, as my example here, but you're not in the place where you felt like you should be at this point in time. So now all these doubts start creeping in your head. It's like, oh man, am I doing the right thing? Oh man, did I just make the biggest mistake? Am I failing? It's like, these are the type of stuff that we have to deal with as a human. It's important to be honest with yourselves in these types of situations and really analyze what it is that you're doing. And the other thing is that you are not alone. Trust me, I'm starting to see, I don't know if YouTube is trying to tell me something here, but I'm seeing a lot of people opening up videos, making videos about how they feel like a failure, how they feel like at the age of where they are now, they're stuck, they can't seem to progress in their life, or they feel like they've made a mistake in their life. And it's like, not necessarily, right? Everybody in this world has their own path to follow. And most of us may not even like the path that we're put in, but that's just the way it is. The important thing is, you've got to analyze where you are at in your life and then just make the best decisions possible. Failing means giving up. This is the best way I can put it. Like, some of you may be stuck, single, you're trying really hard to find someone, and it just feels like nobody wants you. I'm just being very blunt. It just feels like nobody wants you, right? And some of you may feel like, I gotta give up. I gotta stop. This is holding my feeling. This is holding my psyche. I don't like this feeling. But I feel like giving up is when you've concluded you failed. Right? You've got to stick it out. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep moving. Like, it hurts, but you gotta keep moving. Some of you might be saying to yourself, man, I'm in a dead-end jump. Like, I feel like I'm stuck here forever. I don't think I can ever leave this place. I think I've screwed my life over. I'm stuck in this job for the rest of my life. But it's like, no. You feel like you're stuck there because you don't see yourself having options. You need to have a more positive outlook and really be genuinely honest with yourself that you're just afraid. That's fine. Being afraid is fine. But allowing it to put you in a state where you feel like you failed is a dangerous kind of like conclusion. You've got to just keep moving forward. Nothing hammers failure more into someone's psyche than making the sole mistake of comparing themselves to other people. It is something that we intrinsically do ourselves. We know we shouldn't do it because we don't know the journey that the other person has gone through to get to where they are now, the suffering that they had to endure, and the same questions that you are asking yourself that they have asked themselves about whether or not that they are failing. But we ignore all of that and we see only the shiny stuff. We see them buying new cars. We see them moving into their new houses. We see them having kids. We see them living it up in their best life possible that they want to show us. Keep this in mind. But we don't care. Because they have something that we want, and because we haven't reached that point in life, we feel like a failure, right? There's also the fact that we live in a very judgmental society. Each of us moves at a different pace. However, there seems to be a rhythm to it. And if you don't match the rhythm of society, your failure tends to stick out a little bit more. And when it sticks out and you have a bunch of other people who are also failing in life, seeing your failure being highlighted a little bit more, naturally they want to attack you for it because they want to feel good about themselves. So they choose the biggest failure in the room and then they obviously attack you for it. And that makes you feel like even more of a failure than you would have felt prior to that. And then there's obviously the parents. And let's be honest, if you're of African descent, Asian descent, Arab descent, heck, I'm even positive you might have some, Europeans out there as well. Like, I don't know, I never really hear it too much from you guys, but from the other previous one that I mentioned, 100% guaranteed, your parents will compare you to other kids that their friends have. Let's be honest, right? You're minding your own business. You're probably listening to music, reading a book, playing video games, you're doing whatever. Then your mom comes out of nowhere and goes, did you know that Babatunde owns 2 businesses now, has 2 wives, and is about to be the president of Nigeria? And here you are. What are you doing? You're just a mechanic. They'd be vicious though. And we've seen those memes from Asian families, obviously, right? It's a universal fact. They compare their children like they're comparing Pokemon stats. That's just what it is. And it doesn't help. It really doesn't help, and it just adds to the fuel of feeling like a failure, because deep down you're either genuinely trying your best, or you maybe you're actually content with your life. That is also a possibility. Others might perceive you as a failure, but you're actually content with your life. And because they keep piling on their negativity, you start feeling like a failure too. Like I said, failure, the feeling of failure can come from many different directions, and it's an impossible feeling to escape from. Of course, the other type of feeling like a failure that usually shows up in every human being's life is with age. With age, right? As you're getting older, right? I know some of you guys, maybe teenagers, probably won't get it. You'll never get it. Trust me, I couldn't get it when I was your age, and there's no chance in hell you guys are gonna get it. Maybe you could. Maybe this new generation of super geniuses that we have going on right now could get it, but I highly doubt it. The other type of feeling of failure is when you've reached that certain age and you have nothing to show for it. That is, I personally, that's the most crippling type of feeling like a failure. That you've existed so long on the planet that we call Earth, but you don't have anything to show for it. And I think that type of feeling is a lot more stronger in men. Now, I'm not saying women don't feel it. Let's relax with that shit. I'm just saying most of the time, it's men who tend to express this type of feeling. The feeling of, I have nothing to show for it. I have no legacy to leave behind. And that's also part of the reasons why I started doing stuff. I started writing my own manga. I'm also creating a website because I want to leave something behind. I want to leave some type of legacy behind. And a lot of men tend to feel this way. We feel like we have to leave our mark on this earth. Like we have to show that we existed. And I guess one of the ways that people tend to do it is just to have kids, right? I don't know if that's the healthiest way to do it, but that's what they do. They tend to just pop out kids, and at least as long as this child is alive, it's proof that I existed. As long as I'm able to raise this child well, and he or she grows up to be a successful person, I have succeeded in my life. A lot of people do a lot of stuff just to avoid feeling like a failure, if you don't realize. And I don't know if that's the healthiest way or the most valid reason to have a child, but people, that's one of the many reasons why people have kids, right? Aside from obviously not pulling out in time, but whatever. Feeling like you need to leave something behind, or feeling like you need to have something to show for your existence, is one of the most crucial things that people tend to harbor to avoid not feeling like a failure. Now, what do we quantify as showing your existence, right? Like, what do we have to do? Is it just to create something? Is it just to contribute to society in a meaningful way? Is it just to be able to kind of pay your taxes? That's it. Probably if you can just pay your taxes, you're not a failure in life. You've probably succeeded. Like I said, different people have different meaning. Some people want to leave some people want to leave a powerful legacy where they are remembered in history, right? They don't want their names to be erased in history. And that type of motivator can lead to you either being one of the greatest influential leader in the world or a fucking diabolical, tyrannical leader. Like it can only go both ways in those situations. Or you're not really that big on being remembered in history, but you want to leave something meaningful behind for those around you, family, close friends. You want to show that, hey, I have lived for quite some time on this little planet of ours. I've lived on this planet for quite some time, and this is what I have to show for it. I have land. I have a house. I've built things that can help you guys once I've gone to the other side. It's like, I don't think people realize feeling like a failure. It can be quite the motivator if you can channel it, but at the same time it can be quite crippling too, very crippling. Some people fear failing so much that they don't even try anything at all. I don't think people realize this. The fear of failing is so powerful that people will try to avoid doing anything at all. So much so that at least then you can't call them a failure because they never tried in the first place. But one could also quantify that as failing too because you never gave it a shot. There's always a way for you to feel like a failure. That's what I'm trying to get at. No matter what you do, somebody will find ways to make you feel like a failure. Either it's your own internal psyche, it's your mother and a father, it's your parent, mother and a father, parent. I'm failing to speak right now. It could be your close friends. It could be your freaking boss. Let's be honest. It happens in in the workplace too. You're trying your absolute best, trying to meet your quotas, trying to, produce high quality results, and your boss just keeps making you feel like a failure. And one of the best ways they can make you feel like a failure is by barely even acknowledging you as a human being. They see you as stats and numbers. They don't treat you like a human being with his own life. And oftentimes they'll try to belittle you if they personally don't like you. There's multiple ways for you to feel like a failure. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep the whole buck with you, bro. This whole video was supposed to be a motivating aspect to help you guys get over failing, but instead I just made you guys feel like failures, and I failed to do that myself. You see how I acknowledge my own failures? That is where I need to go into next. You have to acknowledge when you fail. You have to be able to see yourself as someone who's failed at something, but you don't give up. You don't give up. I feel like you don't actually truly fail so long as you don't actually give up. That's just how I see it, right? I'll give you an example, a personal example, right? I started my manga, RED RAPTURE, available now on Amazon. If you're someone who likes fantasy, adventure, shonen-like stories with characters who are of African descent, doing crazy cool stuff, go ahead and pick it up on Amazon. But I started this manga, I believe, 2 years ago, right? The first issue dropped in 2022. It did decently well. It did really well, actually, because I kept comparing myself to other people who are also creating this similar type of content every day. I checked the number stats. I checked about how somebody of my caliber, how many copies am I supposed to sell in this month, or in the next month, or in the next month after. I kept doing that. And for the most part, I was feeling satisfactory with my results for the first couple of months, first year. But after like a year and a half, I no longer became satisfied with the results. I wanted more. I wanted to grow, obviously. Like, if you do anything in life, you want to actually grow. And because I wasn't seeing the growth that I wanted to see with my business, I started feeling like a failure. I started feeling like maybe I'm just not good at this. Because, I was blaming everything. I was blaming my marketing skills. I was blaming my content. I was blaming everything. Even though my reviews were really great. People loved my story. People loved the art style. They loved everything about it. I don't know why. But I felt like a failure because I was focusing too much on the negative side of things instead of seeing the positive side of things when it comes to my own product. Now, another aspect of failing is that we humans, right? Like I said before, this video is just me talking. We humans have a nasty, and I mean a really, 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 really nasty habit of only focusing on the negatives and never the positives. It's so weird, right? You can have 10 people come up to you and say, "Wow, I really love your beard." You all see this shit? I really love your beard, and I've gotten compliments of my beard, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling this. I like the beard. I like the mustache. I did well with the mustache. I actually grew this myself. And I was very happy with it. Then you have that one person who comes out of nowhere and says, "I don't really like your mustache." Tell me why then I'm spending the next couple of minutes, hours of my life, thinking about that one individual who said they didn't like my mustache, instead of thinking about all the people who said they genuinely like my mustache. Why am I focusing on my mustache? I just shaved. That's why I'm doing it. But yeah, we have a nasty habit of doing that too. We only focus on the negative. And there's no benefit to it. Like, when you really think about it, there's actually no benefit in thinking about the negatives of anything. And I used to be like this, and I started training myself purposely to stop caring about the negative opinions of people and focus only on the positive opinions of myself. My own opinions should matter more than everybody else. Because when you start listening to people's opinions, you're going to end up starting feeling like a failure. So the point that I'm trying to make is that we human beings, we all go through our own thing, right? I don't know how many of us there are now on this planet. Is it 7 billion, 8 billion, 6 billion? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of us humans on this planet. There's a lot of us who have dreams and ambitions, right? There's a lot of us who want to do things. We also need to remember many of us are in different circumstances that aren't favorable for certain types of dreams. While we're here casually going to like places like Starbucks or Nando's and, you know, just being able to live, there are other parts of the world where people just dream of being able to do just that, right? Like we also need to be grateful for what we have. But the point is, the feeling of failing is not something to be feared. It is not a bad thing, right? Yes, we live in a judgmental society, and I can keep saying to you guys, don't worry about feeling like a failure. Don't fear it. It's fine. It's cool. It's handy dandy. It's all gonna be grand. But then you go outside and some fucking old grandpa is saying to you, you failed because you don't have a house. Because when I was your age, I had a house, I had a car, I had a body, I had everything, and you were a loser. Yeah, it can happen, but I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's a possibility, but you have to learn to overcome you have to overcome those judgmental type of people and really try to recalibrate your own definitions of, you know, failing and succeeding. And basically what I'm trying to say is that don't give up, right? Watch Naruto. Once you watch Naruto, that motherfucker will make you feel like you should never give up on your dreams. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I just want to rant about what it feels like or what it means to be a failure, because we have so many different definitions. It gets worse. I should have probably put this in this video, but it gets worse when you start looking at your own phenotypes, you know, the shape of your faces and all that stuff. How many times have you seen BBLs, you know, surgery on faces and things of that nature, because people feel like they even failed genetically wise. Do you know what I mean? There are people out there who actually feel like they failed genetically wise, and that is a new concept. I don't even know how we even got to that point, but it is what it is. I think that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about the concept of failure. Is it something that bothers you? Does it hold you back in life? Or have you finally reached enlightenment? You've now gone to the point where you don't even care if you fail. You actually see failure as a new opportunity to you know, recalibrate your stats and go back into the dungeon and see how you do in this run. I play a lot of video games, that's why I give that example. Go ahead and subscribe. I talk about a lot of different topics on this channel. Some of them popular, some of them unpopular, some of them like they piss people off, but it's my channel. I do whatever the hell I want to do. And subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. And you know, don't feel like a failure, bro. Don't. Just try to feel like Sasuke, I suppose. Right? Sasuke failed. That's. Yo, I'm back. I realized the ending of that video was bad. I failed at leaving a conclusive ending to this video, and I don't want the idea of failing to be seen as a joke. Obviously, you know. Like for me, I've reached that point in my life where I don't view failing as anything anymore. I've reached that stage in life where the opinions of people no longer impact me at all. And I feel like if you're someone who's even making videos online, the opinions of people probably don't impact you that much anyways. But it is true that there are people in this world who generally are crippled by the fear of failing. It impacts their lives, it impacts how they interact with other people, and I'm really trying to get you guys to not view failing as something bad, right? Yes, some failing are worse than others. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you all failings are equal, but I think if you can just find a way to look at failing as a learning process, genuinely look at it as, okay, I didn't achieve my goals in this instance. Where did I go wrong? How can I improve? And how can I move forward? If you can have this mentality, you are going to be far better off than the people who A, don't want to even try to succeed, or B, when they fail, they genuinely just give up. And when you don't succeed in something, right, you don't have to see it as a failure, right? You can just see it as a conclusive end to your adventure. How about that? Let's say, for example, you want to start a YouTube channel, because that's a great example, right? You want to start a YouTube channel, and you've been at it for like 5 years, and you don't even have 100 subscribers. You could see it as a failure, or you could see it in a different way. You can see it in a way that my only goal for a YouTube channel is for me to make videos, share my opinions, and then move on. Whether I have 100 or 1,000, that doesn't matter. I just want to make videos. And in the 5 years, maybe you never grew, right? You never grew, you never had any followers, any subscribers, but you did what you were setting yourself out to do. You made videos, you talked, and that's it. And you close it off. That's not failing. That's you just saying, this is the end of this chapter. Time to open up a new chapter and just keep moving on. That's all we can do as human beings. Look at our entire history as a species. We just keep moving. We fail here, we learn from our failures, and we just move forward. That's what I'm trying to get at. Just keep moving forward. Don't bother looking back. What's in the back doesn't matter. That's just Yami-yugi. But what's in the back doesn't really matter though. It's what's in front of you that matters. Just keep moving forward. I don't know why I'm sounding like a motivational speaker right now, but I guess the truth is I'm kind of just talking to myself a little bit. Because as I said, I'm doing my own thing. You know, I'm starting a website. I'm making my own manga. RED RAPTURE, available on Amazon. Check it out. But at the same time, it's just my own motivational speech. You cannot stop. You have to keep moving forward. Right? That's all we can do as human beings. Just keep moving forward, keep trying. I know many people have many different goals. Some people's goals is as simple as just finding a girlfriend. And I'll be honest with you, society is tough. The standard of beauty is tough out here. It is. If you don't look like a... You know what? Never mind. It's tough out here, bro. Yeah, it can be tough, bro. You know, and as a man, bro, it's even tougher, bro. You open up one of those apps, dating apps. I don't even use them, but I've heard stories of people opening up dating apps, never getting any response. That shit can crush a man's soul. But you gotta keep moving forward, trooper, soldier, whatever. You gotta keep moving forward. You cannot give up. You cannot give up. You can't. You can't. You really can't. Well, okay, let's be honest. What is the point of stopping? Like, what's the... Okay, maybe I'm just about to kind of like contradict myself here, but what is the point of stopping here, bro? You practically gain nothing. That's what I'm trying to get at. You actually gain nothing, bro. Just keep moving forward. That's all you have to do. But even if they're shooting at you, right, with horrible opinions, you know, backhanded compliments, like... You know, they're just throwing shit at you at this point, bro. Like throwing bullets, nukes, whatever. Keep moving forward, bro. That's all you've got to do. Just move forward. Don't stop. Unless you're in traffic and you probably want to stop. But after traffic, just keep moving forward, bro. Keep moving forward, bro. That's all you can do. That's really it. And then you will find a place in your life where you can look back and say, I'm glad I didn't stop. I'm glad I didn't hold myself back. And I'm glad I did what I did, right? Because failure is also a life experience. It is. Some people are so afraid of failing, they don't even want to travel the world and see places because they're so terrified of failing at, I don't even know what they're afraid of. But they have their own reasons. And they're probably valid reasons, but I feel like you should keep moving forward no matter what. That's all one human being has to offer in this world, is to keep moving forward. As long as you keep moving forward, I promise you one thing: you are not a failure, as so long as you keep moving forward. Every failure is just a new opportunity to learn. That's just what it is. Alright, I think I can end the video off here. I think I've made a really good impact here. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.